Long-awaited Q&A. Do you plan to move out of the Bay Area for a cheaper one eventually? Do you want to be a partner? What happens if a lawyer doesn't want to be one? Do you think being a mom slowed you down in your legal profession or promotion? Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm doing my long-awaited Q&A. I try to do this yearly and I'm a little late to the game, but I've been having a crazy month so far with just having a 9, almost 10-month-old. And it's just a lot to handle, so sorry that this video is late, but I'm finally getting around to answering the questions that you asked me on Instagram almost a month ago at this point. You guys asked a lot of good questions and a good mix too. I'm obviously not going to be able to answer all of them, but I'll try my best to answer the ones I think are pertinent and relevant, and a lot of them are very similar, so I sort of group them together. So let's get started with the Q&A. Alright, the first question is, how's lawyering on the West Coast versus the East Coast? Is it more laid back in California? So if you're new here, I moved back to California. I'm from here, but Hui and I, my husband, lived in New York City for 3 years, and that's really when I started my YouTube channel and my video about working as a lawyer in New York in-house. And now I work in California in the Bay Area in Silicon Valley. So I would say that overall lawyering, the type of work I do is pretty similar. Other than the fact that it's a different type of company and I work on agreements that are slightly different. Basically the day-to-day tasks are very similar. I will say that coworkers were a little more friendly in New York than here in California. It's not that they're not friendly, but they don't really go out of their way to get to know you, to welcome you, to really talk to you that much. I felt pretty isolated in my area and really only talking to a few people, and mostly through Slack and email, especially since we've been working from home too. But that is one thing I noticed. And also the hustle culture in New York is much stronger. People are more fast-paced there, especially because you're always rushing from subway station to subway station to get home, walking. People seem to stay a lot later than they did here. So it seemed like lawyering, at least working in New York, was a lot more fast-paced, more intense. You have to get things done quickly, whereas in California it's maybe a little more laid back, so I would agree with that last part of the question. The next question is, do you plan to move out of the Bay Area for a cheaper one eventually? So I've done a lot of videos about how expensive it is here living in the Silicon Valley in the Bay Area. We have no plans to leave California anymore, especially now that we have a baby and we're planning to have another one. I don't see ourselves leaving California unless something crazy happens. Leaving the Bay Area though, we are open, we have been thinking about it. We always talk about potentially settling down in LA or Southern California, so who knows what will happen. We may get stuck up here, we may decide to move earlier or later, but either way, I don't think wherever we're gonna move is that gonna be that much cheaper, maybe slightly cheaper than here in the Bay, but not much cheaper because California itself is pretty expensive, at least the areas that we would want to live in. The next question is your favorite boba shop. So I feel like in the Bay Area, my favorite boba shop is probably Boba Guys. I think their boba is the best because it's chewy, not too hard, not too soft, still has that bounce. But lately, I've been really into tea guanyin tea or roasted oolong tea, and Boba Guys doesn't sell that, and until recently they weren't even selling their full menu, so the one I usually get, which is the rose black tea, they didn't even have it. So Teaspoon is actually probably my second one, and I feel kind of ashamed to say that. I don't know why, because it's like a chain, and I feel like initially Teaspoon just kind of had this, oh, it's not that great, but it's when you're desperate type of vibe to it. But honestly, the roasted oolong is pretty good. One of the better ones I've had in this area, and the new Mountain View location actually has a really good boba. For some reason, it's just always been very chewy and bouncy, and I haven't had it be too soft. Other Teaspoons I've been to have been too soft, so yeah, I would say honestly, Teaspoon, I really like their roasted oolong tea with boba. And of course TPT would probably be my third because I love their tea guanyin tea, but their boba just isn't that good, especially because they've been serving the smaller boba lately, so it's too soft and too small. The next question is, are you still in-house or a law firm? Are you planning on shifting to the other side? So again, if you're new here, I do work in-house, which means I work inside of a company, but I am a lawyer inside of that company, so that's why I'm in-house counsel. I am still in-house. I have no plans to move to a law firm because I think the quality of life working as an in-house lawyer is so much better. And especially since I have a baby, I really want to have more free time. So no plans to switch. The next question is, do you want to be a partner? What happens if a lawyer doesn't want to be one? So since I don't work at a law firm, there's no path to become a partner at a normal law firm. If a lawyer doesn't want to be one, you don't have to be one. I know at least in accounting firms it's similar. There's different tracks if you want to go to the partner track, but there's other opportunities for you to grow and advance in your career, but without becoming a partner. I know being a partner is a different type of pathway, and you're definitely not forced to become one. Okay, the next question is, do you think being a mom slowed you down in your legal profession or promotion? So I would say in some sense yes, because when you become a mom or when you have a family, you put that first. So if you had the opportunity to go maybe take a different job and maybe you're going to get paid more, maybe you get a raise plus a title change, but you know you're going to be working a lot more hours, you might not be inclined to take that job, whereas if you were single you would, because you have a lot more free time. You're going to be prioritizing time with your family, time to spend with your baby, seeing them grow. And for me at least, I'm willing to take that hit on my career because my baby and my family is just more important. Now, some people might have the luxury to have daycare, or their spouse takes care of the baby, or they have higher aspirations, and that's totally fine. That's just not for me. So I do choose specific jobs because it's more conducive to being family focused. Also, one could say that networking is a big part of finding a different job or climbing the corporate ladder. And when you have a family or you have a baby, you are less likely to go out and network and really put yourself out there more. Of course, there's moms that do it, but for me at least, I don't have the energy for that. So that's another reason why I would prioritize having the baby or taking care of a baby than my career. The next question is, do you still do side hustles even as a lawyer? Do you have time for hobby, travel, etc.? So of course with the pandemic, I'm not doing much traveling, but yeah, obviously I still do my YouTube channel. Taking care of a baby is a lot of my life as well. Because I work in-house, I know I've mentioned this before, I have a lot more free time. I'm not as stressed. If I was a full-time lawyer in a law firm working, 80 plus hours a week, I don't know that I would have time for a side hobby or side hustle. But because of the position I'm in, yes, I do. When will you do an updated day in the life? Love those. I also love watching day in the lives. I actually just posted one about my day in the life of a 9-month-old, so you can click up here if you haven't seen that. I'll definitely try to do more day in the lives, at least monthly, because I like seeing how Ezra progresses. And I know I don't do as many day in the life of a lawyers, and maybe that's the one that you're referring to, but that's because honestly, I just sit in front of my computer. And the latest one I did is when I went back to work for the first time, still from home, so you can also click up here to see that one. I explain a little bit more about what I do, but because I don't go into the office, it's pretty boring. But yeah, I'll definitely try to do more day in the lives. How's the work from home with a baby been this past year? Honestly, great. It's a silver lining to the pandemic. I was able to spend so far 9 months with Ezra when normally you would only get 4. I'm able to help him with his development. I'm able to still feed him, pump while I'm at home instead of having to do it at the office. And with baby-led weaning, prepares foods. It's been great seeing him grow and being able to interact with him daily versus if I were at work, I would only see him when I woke up in the morning and when I got home. So although it's difficult to do work and try to take care of a baby, especially when he's fussy, I wouldn't trade it for the world because I get the ability to grow up with him and be home. Do you have to get into a T14 to get better jobs after school? Law firms, clerkships, in-house. I also have a video about this, which I'll link up here, but it depends on what type of job you want. If you want to go for the top of the top, yes, of course it's helpful to go to a T14. Is it necessary? No. You're able to still go there. You might have to work a little bit harder because you go to not a T14 school, which by the way means top 14. But it's not impossible. I know people that have been able to get great jobs, myself included, go in-house, but that's more based on your experience, how you interview, your networking skills. There's other things and other factors other than just what school you go to. How's Hui doing? He's doing great. He's also still working from home, and he's been able to help me out with Ezra, which is great. If you know, I am exclusively pumping, which means I don't nurse, and I'm able to feed breast milk to Ezra through a bottle. And so that means that what's helpful is he's able to feed him while I pump. He's able to put him to sleep sometimes, just watch him if I need to have a meeting or need to get things done. Mentally, of course, he's doing great as well. Just enjoying this time with Ezra and also trying to see what other hobbies he can pick up and things that he's passionate about. Yeah, he's doing great. Okay, this one's a little bit long, but do you enjoy the work as a lawyer? How did you find out a practice area that you like? How did you make sure what you do is error-free while not spending too much time proofreading and not overstressing yourself? So, do I enjoy my work as a lawyer? Yes and no. I always tell people that I like my job, so the company that I work for and my boss, and the fact that I have a flexible schedule. Do I actually enjoy the work that I do, negotiating contracts? Not really. Does anyone? I mean, maybe some people do. It's pretty boring. It's very reading, a lot of reading, and negotiating, which I don't enjoy either. But I do like my job, just not the work that I do. How did you find a practice area that you like? So I mentioned this in my video about should I become a lawyer or how I went in-house. I can't remember which one, but I just knew I wanted a more flexible schedule, working in a company, getting the perks of being in a company and not a law firm, but still practicing and using my law degree. So that's how I knew that I wanted to be in-house, and I just was blessed enough to find that career path quickly on and get my first foot in the door and then move from there. The last one about making sure you aren't spending too much time worrying about something, but also making sure it's error-free is definitely something that I struggle with. I'm the type of person to err more on the side of getting things done quickly, responding to emails quickly, and getting drafts out very quickly, but that also means sometimes there are things that are overlooked. So honestly, just finding that balance. If you feel you're on one way or the other, try to, for me, give myself a little bit more time to read through a contract again, to make sure I didn't do any typos, to double check everything, especially if you notice you're making the same mistakes. Checking those sections more frequently because you know you might make those mistakes. If you err on the other side, you're taking too long because you're too looking at things too closely, I would say just try to, if you've already double checked it, just send it off, and then it'll help you feel more confident when you don't get pushback. Okay, so this is the last question. It's any self-indulgent things you miss that you can no longer do with a baby? A lot of things. I've mentioned this to many people before, but having a baby, while it's great because you get this bundle of joy, although it's a lot of stress and anxiety, at least for me, your freedom is just gone. You no longer can do whatever you want whenever you want, especially if you're a scheduled mom like me. You have to make sure your baby is on their good nap schedule, their feeding schedule. They eat at certain times, they sleep at certain times, which is not conducive to always going out. I can't just leave in the middle of the night anymore. I can't just go on trips without him, without coordinating with my husband or someone to watch him. And in general, just worrying especially about COVID with him. I can't just go to a restaurant anymore, not just because of COVID reasons, but also because he's just going to be fussy, he's going to be difficult. Dinners are really quick because you're waiting for him to get fussy, or you have to hold him. So basically your freedom is gone, and that is probably what I would consider self-indulgent, because your freedom is really things that you want to do selfishly, which aren't bad, but you're just not able to do them anymore because you have a baby that you have to think about and take into consideration. So I hope you guys enjoyed that Q&A and that I answered some of your questions. The next time I do one, I'll definitely post it on both YouTube and Instagram, so you can let me know what questions you have. If you have any follow-up ones, go ahead and comment them below. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!